Oh, the devil is gonna hate. Oh, the devil is gonna hate. Oh, the devil is gonna hate.
By rejecting a deal that prevents Iran from getting a nuclear weapon and instead leaves Iran the option of installing more and more advanced centrifuges, shrinking their breakout time, that somehow is going to make our neighbors more secure, I think is kind of it doesn't make any sense. I think what
Israel and Iran are staring each other down tonight across the expanse of Syria. Long simmering hostility flared to life last night as the Israelis blasted Iranian fighters in Syria with their largest airstrike since the 1973 war.
I think Iran is a threat. I think it's a very big threat. And I think I did a great thing when I terminated the ridiculous Iran nuclear deal.
I've seen that you called the Ayatollah Khamenei the new Hitler of the Middle East.
The Lebanese Shia paramilitary group has evolved from a ragtag militia to a military and political heavyweight. It's part of the so-called Axis of Resistance against Israel, referring to the alliance between Hezbollah, Hamas, Syria, and Iran.
So there's still many questions about.
Israel has retaliated for an attack on its troops by targeting what it says was Iran's military infrastructure inside Syria. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the airstrikes were appropriate.
In his words, Iran crossed a red line with Wednesday's missile attack on Israeli forces in the Golan Heights. Israel warns that any further aggression will be met with overwhelming force.
Right now we're in the Golan Heights, right where the borders of Syria, Lebanon, and Israel meet. And the border of Jordan is within eyesight. This explosive and controversial plateau, I think, puts the issue of Iran in its contemporary geopolitical context into proper perspective in our generation. Because for the last number of years, Iran has been pumping money and strategic weapons and fighters and infrastructure from the Himalayas all the way to the Mediterranean, across the expanse of the Middle East. While they've been fueling this massive movement of spreading Shia Islam all across the region, another movement has been growing up under their noses within Iran's borders itself.
I believe what is happening in the Church of Iran is going to become a measuring stick for the global body of Christ. It's not something that we can from afar look on and admire. It's going to be something that's required of us to participate in. It's going to disrupt our lives. It's an invitation from Jesus to say yes to more, because where we're headed, it's going to require more. What we have now is not enough. What we need is something that Iran right now is touching. And it's our responsibility as the global body of Christ to say yes to this invitation.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, we get a picture, a description of what the end time church looks like. She's bruised and bloodied, but she's also triumphant and victorious. It says this: the church at the end overcomes by the blood of the Lamb, the word of their testimony, and by not loving their lives unto death. Today, the church in Iran is already walking in that. And I believe that the Lord is going to take this issue of the testimony, the story, the witness of the church in Iran, and thrust it into the heart of the global body of Christ, that we would follow in their footsteps and learn from them. I believe the Lord is putting their message on blast for us in this hour to prepare us for the days ahead.